I was talking to one of my friends, and we were chatting about finances, and he's just like, well, my kids have everything they could ever want. And he was referring to toys, like toys and gifts and what kids would want. And I told him this: your kid does not have everything they need until they have enough money to either not have to work or at the bare minimum go to any college they want, or a bare minimum of they don't have to pay for investing in themselves.
So money is all I think of. Money on my mind, 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 money on my mind. So money is all I think of.
All right. Money is on my mind indeed. Yes, everybody. This is your boy Darrin Harvey, joined by Maurice Shabazz, and this is Financial State of Minds, and this is the show where we help you get to that bag, manage that bag, and grow that bag as best as possible as we discuss finance and business literacy and anything and everything to do with the almighty power of the dollar. And, of course, this show is streaming right now, kgpc969.org, and, of course, wherever you find podcasts is going to be there as well. Today's topic is kind of a semi-follow-up to the last episode I just put out around financial freedom. So that episode, we talked about how to calculate your financial freedom number, which is the number you need to retire and never have to work again. So what I want to talk about now, a little bit more fun, is, okay, you got that number. What are you going to do next? What would you do if you just had a boatload of money, enough money to where you basically can't run out? So I thought this would be a little fun, easy one we can do. So in the previous episode, I stated that I needed about, I think I said 3.5 million, 3 million around there. So if I had that number, which means I don't have to work, my girl doesn't have to work, my niece and nephew, her son, none of them got to work. That's what that number represents to me. What would I do next? Well, I'm going to answer that second. Shabazz, you're going to go first. So Shabazz, I believe if I remember correctly, you said that you needed $80,000 a year, and the net worth would be about 1.6 to 2 million, and that would make you comfortable. Well, you have that number. What are you going to do next?
Well, I mean, just to keep it simple, I mean, because that's not the kind of capital where you could just really just go crazy, because if you do go crazy, you'll end up back broke. So what I would do is travel. One thing I always want is travel. There's a lot of places that I haven't been to. I've been to a good number of places. My passport, I have some stamps on there. But, yeah, I would do a lot more traveling. One place that I haven't been to, and that's really is predominantly populated by black people, which is an island, which is Bermuda. That's one place that I would definitely go to. It's crazy expensive because everything pretty much virtually has to get imported. But you'll find from research, it's black people from all over the world that are planted there. So it'll be good to just see different walks of life, melanated people of color, and just seeing how they live on that island. They have a lot of festivals. There's a lot going on from what I researched. I think last time I checked, I think it's somewhere around about 80 to 90% black people are in Bermuda, which was actually surprising to me, because I'm thinking islanders and stuff like that, people from Thailand and stuff like that, but I was just like, oh, man, that's crazy. But, yeah, man, there's a lot of other places I would like to visit. They have a hotel that's made out of ice.
I've heard about that, yeah.
Have you heard about that one? Yeah, it's a hotel that's made out of ice. Felicia's saying no. She, some black people don't want to go nowhere where it's cold, But, yeah, I always thought it would be a dope experience for a rapper to actually film like a rap video in there. Rappers always talking about ice. They're always talking about jewelry. So just to have a whole, video in an ice motel, I always thought that would be something. I always thought that would be a dope concept for a video.
Yeah.
Just how my creative mind works. But yeah, man, I would travel, man. It has some beautiful places that you could travel to and just to have an experience. I think so many people are just stuck. Some people, man, it's crazy. Some people haven't even been outside of the state that they live in. Some people haven't even visited outside of the region. I've talked to people that live in South Cal. They say, I've never been up to Northern Cal. I've never been to Vegas. I'm like, wow, how you just been in this one little pocket area all your life? It's a whole world out there, man. I would want to venture out, man, and just travel, man, and just, see how other people live. I think we just so subjected to how we live in the United States, and people don't really know anything else, or probably don't think anything else is better because they ain't never had anything else, right? So I know that's one thing that I would definitely do. It's just the idea of just having like your finances in a place that where if you ask the average person, like you're in a position where you're financially set, you don't have to worry about the children and they're set there. You ain't got to worry about how to pay for them for college. You ain't got to worry about any of those things. All that is already done. All you have to do is just basically figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life, to enjoy the rest of your life. Not work for the rest of your life, enjoy the rest of your life. Right. And I think a lot of people haven't even thought about that. What does that even look like for me? Because some people have pretty much structured themselves around a 9 to 5 or structured themselves just around work, period. And some people can't see themselves out of it. I have somebody, it's an older guy I know, and I tell people about this story a lot. He's worked at Home Depot for the last 20-some years. He has the #1 garden apartment in the world. #1 garden apartment. Home Depot is all over the world. They're in Japan, they're in China.
Yeah.
His location right there in San Rafael is the #1 garden apartment in the world. And he could have worked at anywhere else. He could have managed any store in Home Depot with his credentials, but he just wants to manage that one garden apartment right there in Marin County. And he has so much, never takes a day off, never vacation, and how his mind is programmed is that he would never retire because he feel like he would die. If he stopped working, he feels like he would die. So he's going to keep working until he dies. And some people have that mindset. I'm going to keep on staying busy until I die. So I think that some people just have not experienced or even thought that far.
Yeah, I agree with you, which is part of the reason why I want to make this episode, for us to have a little bit of fun. But I want the listeners to think about it. As we're talking, if you had, let's just say you had FU money, just you're not going to be able to blow through it. What would you do? I actually thought this out pretty thoroughly. So I know my freedom number is 3.5, but ultimately I'm going to split it up. What I would want to do for like work and what I want to do for leisure. So if I had just, let's just say FU money, and we'll define FU money as like $10 million or more. But if I'm just even beyond my freedom number, what I would want to do as far as work, I would want to jump back into real estate and buy as many properties as possible. Doesn't matter what type. Preferably apartment complexes, but it can be apartment complexes, duplexes, single-family homes, condo, whatever. The type of property is not the point. What I would want to do is I would want to offer these properties up for disabled people, and specifically the blind. And they would probably most likely go through what is called Section 811 instead of just Section 8. For those who don't know, Section 811 is Section 8's version, but for disabled people. And it does, my understanding is the same thing. Government pays 70-80%. Disabled person has to pay the other 20%. So it's subsidized housing for the disabled. That's what I would want to provide. I don't have to worry about people being late on rent, whatever, because I'm getting the 80%. But mainly it's not even for the money, because I have FU money. It's to help my people, because I know a lot of them live with people. They can't afford to live independently. So that's what I would do as far as work. And I would just outsource 99% of it to property manager and stuff like that. But that's really would be it. As far as work, I'd have obviously Financial State of Mind's nonprofit. I'll still be there as a kind of owner founder, overseeing everything, but that's it. I would hope it'd be on autopilot at that point. But that's really it. And then everything else is kind of piggybacking on what you said, Shabazz. I do want to travel. I want to travel. I actually have an order. So my current order is I try to travel within the United States first, or within North America first. Because as you mentioned, I grew up like that. It wasn't until I was about 25, 26 is when I really started traveling. And up to that point, the only place I had been outside the Bay Area was really Reno, Nevada. That was it. I hadn't even gone to SoCal. I hadn't gone to Oregon yet. I hadn't gone to Washington, Mexico, Canada, where I just came back from recently. I hadn't done any of that. It all started when I was about 25. So I would definitely want to get more traveling under my belt. I want to go see the obvious places, the New Yorks, the Miamis. I want to actually go to the Carolinas because maybe see where my grandparents came from and stuff like that. I want to go to the South. I want to explore that. I want to explore more of Mexico. I want to go to Toronto. I want to go to Spain. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to all those places. I definitely want to go to West Africa. I actually want to go to the exact, I think it's a beach where the majority of our descendants came from, which is a certain beach in West Africa. I'm blanking on the name, but I definitely want to explore. I want to travel regardless of if my vision is with me or not. I could still obviously sense and feel other things, but that'd be the main two big buckets I'm thinking of. Okay, for work, rent out property, to first disabled people. If I can grow it big enough, then I would just do low income and stuff like that, put certain provisions in place, and then I just want to travel. So that's what I would want to do. So I'll shoot a question to you, Shabazz. We talked about kind of more leisure stuff, but again, let's just say you have FU money. What would you want to do kind of like work-wise, if anything? What would you want to do?
Okay. Before I answer that, can you explain what FU money is?
FU money, to my understanding, is a net worth of money where I don't want to say you can't blow through it, but you would have to try incredibly hard to blow through it. Examples of people who have FU money are pretty much name any billionaire. I'll just give it a number. I would say pretty much 10 million. Mm-hmm. I think the average person would have to actively, essentially give the money away. Actually, the number's 5. But I would just say if you have to take care of your family and make sure that your family is set for generations to come, let's give it 10. But actually, I've done the research. It's 5. So that's the amount of money where you just have to actively burn it. Like literally, you're just giving it away. You're spending it on stuff, on luxury stuff. You're living on a random island somewhere, or you're living in a super gated community. But anyways, that's my definition, and that's my understanding of the definition of FU money. Is you have so much money that you definitely don't need to work, you don't need to answer to anybody, and you need to actively try to spend all the money.
Yeah, I had an idea. Some people that would listen, they probably like, what is that? But yeah, one of the things that ultimately I would want to do, that I've always wanted to do, is I would have start a school, right? But it wouldn't be just any kind of school. Of course, it would be something based around finance. But what gave me the idea is I saw it was on the East Coast. They created this school, and because you think they have these investment clubs, and the investment clubs that you know about are more prestigious. Either you have to go to some prestigious private school, or Harvard has an investment club, Yale has an investment club. Like these more prominent schools and colleges, they have investment clubs. So the average kid or a teenager or a young adult cannot access these investment clubs. And what they use, what they do is they educate these students on finance and how to invest money. Mm-hmm. And they give them a fund. They put them in different groups, and they basically give them a stipend to basically play with and invest. And then the proceeds and the profits go back into the institution and so forth, right? And depending on how well some of the students actually perform, of course, they're hired to firms, the hedge funds and stuff like that. Now, this is the thing. Most of my kind, that if you're in Oakland and you grew up in the hood, you don't have access to that.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if they did? Right?
Right.
What if they had access to learn how to actually invest? They had to go through a series of facilitated courses, and then once they completed that, then okay, now we're able to assign you to an investment club, and basically they learn how to trade. Now, this is something and it's a skill that they can actually take with them. Now you have young people who don't have to rob, steal, sell dope, prostitute. The list goes on and on. They actually know how to make money because most of them are on their cell phone.
Right.
They know how to make money from their cell phone by investing in the market, right? And this particular program that I'm talking about, it was just like that. What happened is they shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all the details, but they basically was like, you can't do this. And you can't offer this program to this group of people. They found some kind of loophole or some way to shut it down, but it was very effective. So I would want to do something like that, man. I think that when it comes down to it, we only know, the average person only knows one way to make money, and that's traditionally is trading time for money. That's the only way they know is go get a job, and that's the only means that I know how to make money. And what's happening right now is that I believe this new generation, I actually kind of feel bad for them because I feel like they are behind. They don't know how to use anything outside of a cell phone. They don't have any other acquired skills outside of the cell phone, right? And a lot of them aren't even on the computer. They're just on the cell phone. You got some that's on the computer, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are just operating from a cell phone. And coming up when I was a kid, you learn other skills.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these kids aren't even into sports.
Yeah.
They're not even physically active. So I'm just like, oh, man. And I see this, and I'm just like, what is it going to look like for them in the next 10, 20 years?
Right.
What are they going to be doing? How useful are they going to be to humanity?
Yeah.
And if we don't start honing in on how to invest into this other generation, it's already on the forecast that basically the need for a human being is going to be on the lower end.
Mm-hmm.
So I just believe that, and not just I believe, it's other nations that believe preserving people is a resource.
Yeah.
One thing about China is they believe that preserving their people is very important. The United States, totally different, totally opposite. So, yeah, I would want to do something where I can teach this younger generation, how to actually, survive on this market, how to not only survive, how to thrive in it. And you embed this financial, because think about it, everything on the market is the things that we engage in every day. When you go eat at McDonald's, when you go eat at Popeyes, when you go to Walmart, when you buy some Nike tennis shoes, everything that you do is in the market.
Right.
So by having learned about the market, pretty much you learn about everything, how the world works, how money works. And that's just something that I don't feel like that's probably the best gift that I could probably give to him by investing in the youth like that.
I love all of that, and it lines up similarly with other things that I would do. And as earlier talked about the initial things I would do, which is the real estate. But you mentioned something, I'll speak on it and expand on it. This is just how I feel. I was talking to one of my friends, and he said that he made a comment. We were chatting about finances, and he's just like, well, my kids have everything they could ever want. And he was referring to toys, like toys and gifts and what kids would want, clothes, stuff like that. And I told him this, and I said, your kid does not have everything they need until they have enough money to either not have to work or at the bare minimum go to any college they want, or in some way a bare minimum of they don't have to pay for investing in themselves, whether that's a trust fund, whether that it comes down to money. They're going to need a certain amount of money. I think that's especially true for the new generation, because it's actually confirmed now from a study. I wish I could reference the name of the study, but I'm blanking out. But there is a study that's confirmed that Gen Alpha and the next generation, which I think it's going to be, they're going to call it Beta, is going to be the first generations that cognitively is behind the previous generation that came before it. And we all know why. It's the screens. Their screens and stuff like that. So between that, between AI, between how the world is going right now, the new generations need every advantage they can get. And that's my mentality and mindset when it comes to financial freedom, whether it's just enough money to where you don't have to work or whether you have FU money, it doesn't matter. I hope everybody who's listening feels the same way. You should want it so that your kids have the option. I'm not saying you have to give them $5 million at any point in your life. But what I am saying is you should have the option so that you can give it and pass it down to your next of kin. Or if you don't have next of kin, open up. Now this leads to what I would do. Open up nonprofits, open up organizations, or donate to organizations that are benefiting, humanity as a whole. And there's a cause for everything, you guys. There's a nonprofit and a cause for everything. Ultimately, if I had FU money, I just give it back to the community, because I already know that I only need 3.54. Like at 5, I don't see how I can possibly burn through more than $5 million in my lifetime in 50 years. I just don't see how I would do that knowing who I am. And I'm not the type to be like, oh, hey, guys, I have $15 million. You get a car, you get a house, you get a boat. No, I'm not that nice. If you family or friends, I'm sorry, I'm not that nice. I'll help you. I'll invest. You want to go to college? Cool. I'll pay for your college. Hey, you want to go to become a plumber or go to a trade school, or you want to become a streamer? Cool. I'll invest in that. I'm not doing no handouts. That goes to the causes that I believe in. So I talked about obviously supporting the disabled population through real estate, but I would just be supporting them in every way possible. So that's one. Another cause that I would definitely donate to is donate to the Alzheimer's organization. That's what my dad has passed away from. So I'm hoping that with my donations that can help them in their research to find a cure. And I would, of course, do the same thing, too, for cancer, which is where my mom passed away, and giving more support to all the suicide organizations, because that's when my brother passed away, and just mental health as a whole. That's a big thing. And I would actually, if I could, again, tailor it to the disabled or the African-American community or actually caregivers. Because what I've learned is that those are 3 of the highest populations that has to deal with mental health because the level of stress that they endure on a daily basis. But that's really what I would do once I have FU money. I just donate it and give it to organizations. There's organizations where it comes to making water clean across the country or across the world, or there's organizations that are just get basic stuff to people. So that's what I would do ultimately once I got FU money. I'd have a nice house. I'd have make sure my lady has like a car or two, whatever she wants. That's really it. Like, I'm not the type of person to just be like, oh, because I have $10 million, I'm going to buy a 10,000 square foot mansion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that type of person.
I do got a question.
Go ahead.
In your opinion, what is the difference between being given $1 million and earning $1 million?
Huge difference. Huge difference. In my opinion, I would honestly prefer that people earn $1 million, not given. If money is on the way, you don't have that sense of urgency. Like, I've said this to people. I've said this to my best friend. He will always work harder than me. Same thing with my barber. My barber, both of them, these guys are making tens of thousands of dollars a month. these guys are hungry because of the environments they came from. No one in their family had money. No one in their family knew about money. So their hunger and their desire will always supersede mine because I come from stability. I come from a decent amount of money. So it's not that I don't work hard. I definitely work harder than the average person. But that urgency, I only have my urgency because of my vision. But other than that, that urgency, and especially if you're young, just say by 21, by 18, by 25, you're going to get $10 million. What's the point of working? What's the point of going to school? What's the point of going to college? You're going to be set and you're never going to work as hard. I'm not saying people who earn wealth don't work. They definitely do. And as we talked about on the show plenty of times, there's a skill for making money, a skill for managing money, and skill for growing money. Whole point of the show. So I'm not saying these guys won't have skills, but that edge, that chip on their shoulder, that urgency, I'm telling you guys, I have no problem saying it. I don't got that chip on my shoulder because of my background. I just don't. That's why I respect people like you. I respect people like my best friend, people who have chip on their shoulders because of the environments they came from, because of the situations they came from. That's why I believe that there's nothing wrong, and the goal is to make sure that your next of kin doesn't have to struggle and scrape by. That's the goal. That should be the goal for everybody. But I'm not going to sit here and say that, of course, somebody who earned $1 million and they worked hard for it, I have a huge amount of respect for those people compared to the people who just are just giving it to them because it's their birthright.
I agree. I think that, I don't even think, I just know, for example, that they say 9 out of 10 people that actually win the lottery end up broke.
That's correct.
Right?
Yep.
I always say this, it always goes back to the mindset. And as a black man, I could speak on this. I know black people always seem as if they're always constantly complaining. To other people, it looks as if it's just constant complaining, that we have not been treated right in this country and we have not been given what was promised. Some people go back to the 40 acres and the mule and stuff like that. But if I really had to analyze it and I have to be objective, I would have to say right now, let's just say we're going to give you all 40 acres and a mule. Well, one thing is, I don't even think anybody would even know what to do with the mule, or very few people probably would. That's one thing. And then 40 acres. What would you do with 40 acres? And when you think about it, the average person, especially this younger generation, they don't even control the real estate in their mind. How are they going to manage the real estate up under their feet? So it really comes back down to the mindset. Like, if you don't know how to manage wealth, that is going to be your biggest problem. You are going to be your worst enemy when it comes to finance. Because your money management skills, you don't have any. Or your money management skills are very poor or subpar at best. So we have to understand that the financial education is at the heart of this. In order to excel in finances, you have to know finances. I'm just saying that to kind of spark somebody who may listen to this, is that you should do whatever it takes to master finances.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point. Listen to podcasts, you'll master it, or you'll get one step closer. Listen to Financial State of Mind. Start with episode 1, go all the way to episode 90 something, where we're at this point, and we're going to keep going. We're always going to put out more content. But there's a statistic. The statistic is 1 out of 3 people who make $250,000 are living paycheck to paycheck. So that's why, again, I'll say it again, the Financial State of Mind is a show where we help you get to that bag, pause, manage that bag, pause, and grow that bag, pause, as best as possible, because those 3 are distinct skills. One thing I know is, speaking on black people are really freaking good at making money. If you really think about it, black people are really good at making money. So getting that bag, I really don't got to teach your brother how to get that bag. I don't got to teach your sister how to get that bag. It's the managing. I would say it's the managing, and especially the growing. The growing. That's the one where I feel that we've been kept out. We've been kept out. We can get to that bag pretty well, manage that bag okay. We've kind of fallen on hard times on that, but we can learn that. That's not too hard to learn. But growing that bag, that's when we look around the room and we realize the people who are growing that bag don't look like us. And it doesn't matter how much money you have or start with or in debt. The path is always the same. The direction of the path is always the same. It doesn't matter if you have $250,000 in debt, $50,000 in debt, you have no debt, you have a little bit of savings. You're always supposed to go in the direction of investing, because investing is how you get to your financial freedom number. There are very few jobs where you can earn enough money to retire before 65. It's got to be single digits. And especially if we're focusing on African Americans, we really only know about one industry, and that's entertainment. And that's the only one we've been consistently successful at for the last several decades now. And there are other paths, which is what me and you have talked about quite constantly on this show. But I want to talk more about the management. I want to talk more about the growing. But the purpose of this episode and the last episode was the goal. You need to have a goal. No different than when you're trying to lose weight. No different than when you're seeing a therapist. You need to have a goal to aim for. And I think you said it at the top of an episode. That's what people aren't think about. They're not thinking about the goal. What is the goal? Because the goal is going to dictate the number. I said it on the previous episode. I don't care if people choose to or not to pass on their wealth to the next generation. That's up to them. Mm-hmm. What I care about is person who is listening. You want the option. This is a really good feeling that I can choose to pass on my wealth to whoever I choose to. That's a feeling that people don't know until they experience. It's a want, but it should be a burning want. You should want to, especially if you have kids, especially parents who are listening right now, you should want to pass on things to your children so it's easier for them, because this world you're going to leave them isn't going to be easier. You should want to pass on a legacy to your kid, because this world is not going to be easier once you leave it. So whatever you have to figure out what you need to motivate you to get to that number, figure it out. Think about it. Reflect. Mine was simply, I want to make sure that it really started with my niece and nephew. My brother's no longer here. They're already out of father. What can I do to just make their little lives a little bit easier? Because their lives are already more difficult than the lives that I had. I think about that all the time. Their lives are more difficult than mine, and it shouldn't have happened right there. The next generation should always have it a little bit easier. That's how you know you've done something right as parents. Or one of the factors you've done something right as a parent. You've made it easier for your next of kin. You made it easier for your kids. And that was my desire. So that's why the number was like $1 million for me at first. Was, okay, $1 million, I can make sure I'm good, and then my niece and nephew are good. And then I learned about life insurance policies, and Shabazz knows about that better than me. Just get some life insurance policies, people. And it'd be really that simple. Get some life insurance policies for the people you care about, or put them on yourself, and then make the beneficiaries people that you care about. And right then and there, everyone's gonna get set up. And I think I say it all the time. My niece and nephew, they are going to get, I believe it's $375,000 when I'm gone, and I'm only paid $8 enough. $8 a month. So they're set. They're good. If I want to give them extra, I'm working on getting them extra, which I do want to give them extra. But they're good. They're going to have a trampoline to jump on that I even didn't have. So I know that's a little side tangent, but that's what I want listener you to think about. What is the goal? We're going to keep having fun about what we're talking about, but what is the goal? What's your goal so that you can retire early? Or maybe that's not your goal, but I don't know. Should be your goal. So, Shabazz, what's ultimately, because money is just a tool. Shabazz, what ultimately, legacy-wise, do you want to leave behind?
Ultimately, man, I just want to leave behind the blueprint of what it looks like to actually be successful financially. That doesn't necessarily mean being rich. It means just knowing how to manage finances. Mm. And I think that's the main thing. I want to leave that blueprint behind, because from there it can, and I think that for the people, the generation of people who were wealthy, that's what they have left behind. And that's why they have generation after generation that's able to still take those same teaching, those same practices, and continue to carry on the family legacy, or whatever you want to call it. They're able to continue to build off that. Just think about that. Have something for that you have built for the generations to come. That's what I would want to leave behind.
Got it. Okay. So ultimately, I've actually never thought about this. I'm doing this on the fly. But if you were to ask me, okay, what is Darrin's legacy ultimately? What I want? For some reason, first off, I do want people to remember me long after I'm gone. I do care about that. Part of what the benefit of having a podcast is that when I'm long gone, we're long gone, Shabazz, people can still listen to our voice. People will be getting advice from us, hopefully 50 years from now, 100 years from now, 250 years from now. I want people to remember who I am. And not because I'm a narcissist or I really care. It's really to honor my family, my past. I'm an apple, or I'm the offspring of Darrin Harvey and Darrin Harvey, and Darrin Harvey Jr. I am in the embodiment of those three. And I don't want people to forget who they are. So they're not here, obviously. They're not here to build a legacy. They've already left their legacy behind. And to me, that's me. And then for my brother, it's his kids, my niece and my nephew. Mm-hmm. I want people to remember all those people. They're not there. My brother, my mom, my dad are not here to build that legacy. So I have to do things so that people know who I am and know where I got this from. And I got the torch from them. So my mother was a counselor. She was a counselor at UC Berkeley. She did that for my entire life, 25 plus years. She was a giver. She helped people. So that's what I want to do. So that element is coming out, obviously, right now through the podcast, through everything we're building at Financial State of Minds, the nonprofit, all the real estate stuff. That's all her. My dad was, he's the one who really taught me the seeds of finance. He's the one who taught me, hey, you don't overspend. If you pay on time consistently, you're going to be able to get whatever you want. He didn't. I tell people all the time, my dad did not sit me down and go, oh, yeah, this is how you invest. Yeah, you can have a credit score of 850. Yeah, you can have credit lines that have 30,000, 50,000. My dad didn't teach me any of that. He didn't sit me down for any of that. He just taught me some basic life skills that, fortunately, most of them are still usable and applicable today. And probably the most important one, I'll say it again, is if you pay your bills on time and work hard and stay patient, for the most part, you can still get whatever you want. And as I've clarified before, and I'll clarify again, working hard looks different. Staying patient looks different. All these things look different than in my dad's generation, and Shabazz's generation, and my generation. They look different. But if you do it, and if you choose to do it, I'm basically talking about delayed gratification. If you choose to do it, you're going to be able to have FU money. You're going to be able to jump on that path to do it. you're going to be able, listener, to leave the legacy that you want to leave for yourself, the legacy you want to leave for maybe your family or for other people. Doesn't matter. As long as it's positive, obviously, it impacts the world in a positive way. The reason why I'm obsessed about money is simple. It's just a tool. Money is arguably, especially the American dollar, it is arguably still, even with all the hoopla, the most powerful tool, or one of the most powerful tools to get you what you want. And for me, it's to leave a legacy. And in order for me to do that, is to buy back my time. As Shabazz constantly talks about, the first thing you need to do is buy back your time. It doesn't have to be for what building nonprofits and donating all the money and stuff like that. You should just want to buy back your time at minimum just to be around your kids more often. You should want to buy back your time at minimum just to be around your family more often, because we all have family who ain't going to be here forever. We all have family who ain't going to be here forever. That was part of the reason why I went to Canada. Have family there ain't going to be there forever. So that's the beauty and that's the power of what money and wealth can do. Ultimately, it can buy back your time. And listener, I hope that is what you want. You know, I want that for you. You deserved it. You've worked hard enough as is. But I'm not the government. I'm not God. I can't just wave a macaron and go, okay, Shabazz, you don't have to work no more. Okay, Darrin, you don't have to work no more. You have to do the correct amount of work for an extended amount of time to get to, hopefully, at least your financial freedom number, and maybe luckily one day into the FU rank. So I can't believe we are already out of time. We got 4 minutes. Shabazz, you want to wrap this up?
Yeah. So in closing, man, the main thing that we all should be focusing on is how can we be more economically efficient and independent, because we are so reliant on so many things. And one of the main things that we're not reliant on when it comes to black people is each other.
Facts.
So we need to unfold that. We need to unpack that and see what it is that we need to do to come together to where our dollar can circulate more than just one time and go somewhere else. So I say this: you want to help your community, you want to help your family, you want to help yourself, learn finance. Get financially educated. Educate your children. Share that knowledge with the people around you, your family, your friends, because that's the only way we're going to be able to compete.
We're just going to end it right there. Oh, wait, I have to do the closing outro, don't I? Crap, I'm tired, you guys. All right, you guys, it's been your boy, Darrin Harvey. Shabazz, thank you for joining us as always. And this is the show where we help you get to that bag, manage that bag, and grow that bag as best as possible. Been streaming on kgpc969.org. You're listening to it probably on 96.9 FM, or maybe you're listening to this on your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Please comment, share, like, share with all your friends. Tell them about your favorite financial podcast. And see you guys on the next episode. Peace, peace, and things. We are out of here.